Well, it's Groundhog Day again.
Can't stop addicted to the shindig.
Hey, everybody, blah, 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 blah. You know what the usual opening is. Same thing every week. So, we've had some technical difficulties, and Ian is unable to join us this evening. And I've called upon the great Jewels to see if she can't jump on and sub in. And so we're going to give her a couple minutes to see if she can get set up and everything. And while we wait for that to occur, and I apologize if I get a couple burps here. These Coke Zeros go down real easy, real quick. Before we get going, just I want to, as you know, when Jules comes on, but I'd like to apologize to Eric and Jules for what occurred last Monday and my behavior. And those who know me personally know that I've been struggling with some family stuff, and when that happens, I tend to either clam up or overindulge, and I think you all can guess which way I went last week. And it's not an excuse, just a matter of fact, but my personal frustrations were completely misdirected at them, and to that, to both of them, I'm very sorry. And if you've ever been fortunate enough to live your life without ever doing something that you regret, go ahead, jump in the comment section, cast that first stone like so many felt the need to do last week. I'd love to hear about your experiences of leading a perfect life. Or maybe you consider your worst moment before piling on someone else's. That said, the experience of last weekend confirmed some suspicions of mine. Last Sunday's show, I was very deliberate in a negative and provocative show description. It was an experiment just to see what the effect would be, and as I feared and predicted, the post got more interaction than the previous 20. Then the following night, I go off the rails, and that show got the most interaction of any show we've done all season. We're talking over 70 shows since the start of this season. And so I said, what can we learn from all of this? Well, it's clear that the vast majority of the voyeurs just want to bathe in negativity and indulge in judging someone during their worst moments, never acknowledging their best work. And that's fine, to each their own. And if you'd ever like to compare lives or accomplishments, let me know. I'll be happy to oblige. But the conclusion I've come to after last weekend's debacle is that after 10 years of being a part of this trailblazing podcast, I'm done. So I have one off-season podcast responsibility that I'm committed to. Aside from that, come the final Sunday of this season, we'll do our usual wrap-up of the season and everything, and then I'm out. Boot me from the Discord, kick me from the group chats. Good night, everybody. So now that being said, I hope Ian or Jerk or Jules, whoever, someone can take the reins and evolve the Sunday show into something even better that I couldn't even have imagined. And I saw a few of the comments. Oh, that AJ guy, I can't watch him. Which I found especially comical because there have also been previous comments of, I can only watch the cast when AJ's on. Again, it's fine. It's all subjective. Not everything is for everyone. But as a dear friend once told me, if I don't know you on a personal level, your opinion of me means less than nothing. And last week, that was on me. I should have left with Jerk last season as I initially planned. And once I'm no longer a part of this, I look forward to being completely and totally free to share my unvarnished opinions without fear of damaging a brand or anyone associated with it. So there you go. I haven't watched last week. I'm moved on. The past is the past. Again, I apologize to Eric and Jules and everybody else associated with Teal Town. They didn't deserve that, so that's all on me. And, you guys want to pile on and come for me for what I did last week? Go ahead. I'm a big boy. I'm an adult. I can take it because, again, if I don't know you personally, your opinion means nothing. So, especially when you're only there to, dredge up the bullshit while never celebrating the wins. So, that being said, let's see if we can't get Juels in here with any luck. Man, technology is a wonder some days. Well, Jesus Christ, could we work with Skype so we're not that tight on Jules? She's beautiful and all, but we didn't need to see that close up of it. Okay, here we go. All right, now we seem to be locked in. All right, well, thank you, Jules, for subbing in for Ian again. Sorry about last Monday, and I appreciate your forgiveness.
You're all good. Shit happens. Life happens. Sharks happen, and we have shit to talk about.
Yes. So the first things first, and you're going to hate me for asking this, but it's just because I really don't pay attention to things. What is your Twitter handle? It's Sharks Jules, but is there an underscore?
Oh, and my Wi-Fi. Oh, yeah. My Twitter handle is @Sharks. Is it @Sharks_Jules or @SharksJules?
That's what I'm asking you, babe.
It's @Sharks_Jules.
There you go. Fear the underscore. They're always around.
Yeah, I don't even remember what I do, so it's fine.
All right. So, what had happened was, now that we got everything out of the way, the Sharks went 1-1 during a pretty light week, remaining 32nd in the standings. And after 54 games this season, the Sharks have 15 wins and 36 points. They are 1 point better than last season so far, still on track for the number 1 draft pick, while improving their goal differential, plus 30 over the last, when compared to last season. Still last, but only by 21. And last season at this point, their goal differential was last by only 13. Holy crap. All right.
Yeah, they were bad last year.
So, also tonight, we have a trade to announce. I'm not going to attempt to do the Lacey impersonation. Some things to say about Askarov, the right and wrong of the quarter-century team selection. A fan Q&A event occurred this week. The definitive Utah hockey team name, the cap going up nearly $20 million, and a Barracuda weekend, which for those of you who have Flow TV and TSN and all of that, is evidently occurring as we speak. Hopefully, Ian, as you can see, he didn't realize it until he tried to plug it in, found out it was a pancake. So it happens. Yes, dude. Tiger pointing out the tariffs. Blame the tariffs, Ian. That's what it is. Man, I hate when that happens. All right, let's start with Ian. I'm sure will keep us up to date if anything significant happens in the AHL All-Star festivities. But let's start with this game against Pittsburgh, where Askarov just had quite possibly his best game of the season for the Sharks. Now, context matters. The Penguins are sinking in the standings fast, currently 27th at the last time I looked, and they did not have Evgeny Malkin in that game. Nevertheless, Jules, a good win for the home crowd. And, hey, the last goal that we saw from Granny in a teal sweater.
Yeah, no. I think I said this whenever that game was, but they needed that win. The Sharks at that point were falling off a cliff. Not saying they're still not falling off the cliff. But they needed that win, and it was nice. It was probably Askey's best game of the season. I really liked Eklund's game. That game, I thought the Lunds had a really good game. Rest in peace to the Lund line.
They just got to call up Cam Lund, and we're back.
Cam Lund will probably be here soon, but we have to wait a little longer for that. Oh my God. But yeah, no, it was a solid win for them, and it was nice to actually get to talk about a win, because those are not going to happen that often anymore.
Yeah. Chris pointing out that evidently Ian now costs 25% more to have on the podcast. So, and I am happy that
I don't know if we can afford that.
I'm very happy that Jules got the memo to wear the gray hoodie before we came on.
I was in my pajamas, so I just did not feel like showing up in pajamas to the show. That just did not feel professional.
I feel you. So great to see Crosby and Macklin, excuse me. Great to see Crosby and Macklin score in the same game. Askarov throwing a .970. Huge defensive stance, only allowing 1 goal after 26 goals allowed in the previous 4 games. But it would not be a Sharks game locally if NBCSN didn't make yet another mistake with the graphics, as you can see here. Throwing it back to Patrick Marleau and what he did in his career with San Jose in franchise history.
History is a new word. Have you not heard of it?
I guess not. I look forward to the Mel Brooks sequel, History of the World Part 2.
Oh God. Yeah, no, it's a new word. We're using it all around the world now. History.
So look, the bloom would come off the rose very quickly this week. Everybody was so happy at Pittsburgh, and the dads are coming along. Let's have fun in Seatown. All right. Askarov's going to start another one. It's a national game on ESPN. And which, of course, means that whatever is occurring before the start of the Sharks game is destined to go to overtime.
And it did.
Yep. Seattle came in with diaper rash. I mean, 2-game losing streak. Broadcast could not stop talking about how this is the 3rd and 4 nights for Seattle. And Stevenson got deep early. Askey needed to have that one, and we're off to the races.
Yeah.
More former nights hurting the Sharks.
Yeah. No. Seattle wanted its sweet revenge on the Sharks from that home and away stand we had like early on in the season, and they got it. Because the Sharks decided to sleep that entire game. So yeah, great, exciting. That was fun.
Yeah.
No, that game sucked. Askey should have had that first one, and then the Sharks, whenever something doesn't go their way, they crackle and fall off a cliff. So that was that for you.
Yeah. Hey, appreciate you, Ryan, in the comments. Appreciate it, dude. 6-point game streak, though, for Will Smith, so there's something positive you can take from it.
He's looked good.
And, it had been a while since I've watched a game on ESPN, and I was like, you know what? Better than I remember. I'm still not a big Hextall fan, but I thought, oh, God. What's the guy? He's local, too, and he did the play-by-play. Roxy. Thought Roxy Bernstein was fine. Better than I remember. There's certainly been some times where I was like, oh, my vey, what are we doing here? But anyway, the post-game, you could see that the guys that they talked to, whether it was Ferraro or Thrun, you can see that it's weird that they're like trying to deal with this dichotomy of like being mad, but also like, what do you expect us to do? We don't have a lot of talent.
Yeah. Like, the Sharks were not going to be good this season. And if you thought so, you were wrong.
Yeah. Like, I hope you didn't lose much money.
Yeah. Like, we all knew this was going to be, and it's only going to get worse. And we'll talk about that. So,
yeah. During the post-game, Ferraro said, we got away from our identity as a team. We go off.
Have an identity.
Yeah, I'm like, what identity is that? We go off script, and it's a snowball effect. It's been our Achilles heel all year. Not every game is perfect, but we find a way to get away from how we need to play. And again, I sit there and go, okay, well, who's going to own that? And why does it keep occurring? Henry Thrun said this year, it's like we blink and then we're scrapping to get back into a game. Seems like there's a flurry of chances and we're down 2 or 3 goals. It's happened too much this year. And now the one positive I guess you can take from that is Thrun says, this year it's like we blink and then we're scrapping to get back into a game. Well, last year you weren't in a lot of them. So at least you're in more of them, I guess, is the positive you can take.
I think it was probably Shang, who said, like, the Sharks this year, I know they've blown a lot of third period leads, but at least they have leads going into the third.
Yeah.
Last year, we were most of the time out of games starting the third period.
out of games about the first 5 minutes in last season on some of those.
Yeah, like the Vancouver and Pittsburgh games early on last season. So at least they're in them this year. Like it's a step, kind of.
Warsofsky saying, we were slow all night. First goal, we were
Couldn't
late.
tell.
Mental mistakes from training camp, which that I sit there and go, Jesus. People not where they're supposed to be. We have to skate, be engaged with and without the puck, be more physical. We did everything wrong tonight. And again, I sit there and go, that's something I would expect to hear during post game for the first 15 games, not at game 54.
No, that's something you don't want to hear at game 54. Yeah, I'm curious how the Sharks respond on Tuesday because Grier saw that loss and was like, yes, I'm going to trade our top scorer and our top total ice time defenseman leader to another team and get nothing back, like no players back, but just draft picks. So I'm curious how the team responds to that.
I'm telling you. Oof. So what was evidently going to be a day off after the Seattle game became a bag skate. Wallman was benched for floating and not getting back hard enough during the game. Goodrow, however, wasn't. Warsaw was quoted as not wanting to use injuries as an excuse. I mean, injuries aren't making players make mental mistakes. Injuries aren't hanging goalies out to dry.
Unless they're playing injured. But even then, the Sharks should not be playing anyone injured right now. They're not in that state where they need to do that.
Yeah, no kidding. Man, between the injuries and FAs on this team, it's like, man, who the hell is going to be here on March 8th? But I digress.
No one.
All right. So also occurring this week, you had Vanecek being moved from day-to-day status to a rehab game with the CUDA to being recalled by the Sharks earlier today. Also an FYI to pass along to anybody who's playing the game. Askarov would have to be on the Barracuda roster on the day of the NHL trade deadline, March 7th, to be eligible for AHL playoffs. And as we said, Askey and I believe social media had it earlier today, the shot of Askey and who else went? Is it Potsy?
Potsy.
Yeah. So they're down in, is that in Coachella? Where is it?
That's in Coachella, yeah. Potsy got a huge ovation down there.
Nice. All right.
And Askey got lit up in the first goalie thing that I saw, 5 of 10.
Yeah. So. Okay, so I'm glad you brought that up. So per The Athletic, when it comes to what, about Askarov, it says it's been a volatile first 13 starts for the young netminder. 6 times he's put up a 929 or better, and 6 times he's put up 871 or worse.
And said, very hot and cold.
Yeah, like this week he stacked a game where he was the best player on the ice versus Pittsburgh, and one where he got pulled after allowing 4 goals on 11 shots. And if you remember, to start the second period, it was 3 goals on 3 shots.
I will say this, playing in front of that defense doesn't help him. I'm curious how he does with back on the CUDA with a better blue line, in my humble opinion, than what the Sharks have right now.
Well, better blue line, a slightly slower game,
A slightly slower game. I know people got upset that he got sent down. I don't mind it. Let him go light up the AHL with the CUDA. Let the CUDA go on a run here because they're better with Askey. They need Askarov more than, probably Askarov needs the CUDA at times, but, it's fine. He'll be here next year. We're fine, people.
Yeah, and it's like, they're not going to the playoffs.
The Sharks.
Yeah, last time I looked, the top 32 teams don't make it.
Yes.
So
that is correct.
There is no worry about going to the playoffs this year. Let Askey dominate. And, I can deal with his, shall we say, shenanigans, the bench pressing of the net and some of his tomfoolery, if you will. Mm-hmm. I can deal with the personality coming out if you're killing it. But if you're getting torched every other game, maybe you want to dial that down. Go down, get more seasoning. Georgiev and Vanecek, they're both on expiring deals this year, right?
Yeah, their contracts are both up this year.
Yeah, so
I made joke with someone, I think, that if somehow Grier is going to fetch a first for Vanecek, I'm joking, but dumber shit has happened in the last 48 hours of my life. So
If Barclay Kudrow can get you a first,
you have first
anything
round
can
pick,
happen.
anything. I'm just saying, like, we'll see what happens at the trade deadline if Grier decides to trade either Vanecek or Georgie. I do not think that Alexander's tradable, in my humble opinion, but I've been proved wrong. But listen, if you can get something for Vanecek, he's been the better of the two when he has played before the injury. So weirder shit has happened. But no, naturally, we're going to get like a 6th-round pick for him. So,
Well, let's see here. I mean, it went on to say that Askey is clearly talented. The team in front of him is clearly not. I'm being nice because I'm paraphrasing that.
Aspects of that are true. So.
It says, but more time in the AHL seems like a no-brainer. And I agree. Again, I don't know that there's really any true upside to be gained by the Sharks carrying 3 goalies for now.
No.
So,
and you want him playing. You don't want him sitting.
Exactly. So, and look, maybe something just like Jules said, strange things have happened. Look, we have a month, maybe one, if we're lucky, Vanecek or Georgie, one of them
gets hot.
Yeah, can get hot for this month. And then come on, if you get anything back in return, it's a win.
Mm-hmm.
So, but my question is there a playoff bound team that would take either of them right now? I can't figure out a reason why. Maybe
the Oilers, but I mean, I always say the Oilers need goaltending. I think their goaltending has been fine. Pickard's been actually decent, and Skinner hasn't forgotten how to play goalie yet. But again, GMs are weird. Like, GMs are strange. One of them might decide, you know what, I should go out and get Vitek Vanecek and give the Sharks a 2nd round or 1st round pick. This is me joking around here. We're not getting a first for Vanecek, but I'm just saying dumber shit has happened, and I wouldn't be surprised if one of them gets hot. We've seen Grier take the hot hand and trade it.
True. And when Granlund got moved, the first thing that popped in my head was, I'm just dying to know when Dangle drops I want the EK65 trade tree that, begins with here's all the stuff San Jose gave up to get him. And then when Grier moved him, here's all the stuff they ended up getting back. I can't wait to see that video. Eric, I mean, you should be working on that right now. I'm just saying. I can't wait.
Yeah.
And a couple weeks ago, I made, I was making fun of Wyszynski's 3 bold predictions. None of them were bold. So I said, no, you want to do bold predictions? All right. And one of mine was Granlund gets extended. So nope, already blew that one.
Nope, not happening. Unless he signs back, but I don't think that's going to happen.
Oh, that's true. I could in a roundabout way win.
You could in a roundabout way. If the Stars don't sign him in free agency and he comes back which would be an insane win, by the way. If that happens, that's just insane. That typically doesn't, but dumber shit has happened.
Okay. Oh, Tyga's saying JD did a trade tree. Yeah, but no, I want the full experience. You know what I mean? I want top to bottom. What was given up by the Sharks to get him, and then what the Sharks have eventually brought all in after. Obviously it's still going to take some time to see how this. We got to see what this 1st round pick for Granley nets. I mean, there's a lot of moving parts.
I don't think the Sharks hold on to this 1st round pick they got for Granny. There's my bet. If I was a betting man, I think Grier has another move in him.
I think it depends on if they get the 1st again.
I think it's traded at the deadline. I don't even think it makes it to the fucking draft.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
Either that or he's going to trade up at the draft. But either way, I don't think the Sharks are making that pick. Whatever number it is, whether it's like 18 or down or whatever, I don't think they make that pick. I think it's moved.
And so, of course, we're I understand the condition. Okay, well, let's just get into this real quick. So the Sharks have traded Mikhail Granlund and Cody Ceci to Dallas for a 2025 1st rounder and a conditional 2025 4th round pick. Now, I'm not a big fan of the fact that a lot of people said, "Oh, it was for a first and a third," and it's like,
No, it's a
no,
conditional fourth.
yeah, it's like, no, I don't. You're trying to polish a turd. Stop that. So
No, that's a conditional fourth.
yeah. So if the Stars make the final, it goes from a fourth to a third. The likeliness of that happening, getting through Vegas, getting through Edmonton, good luck. But my point being, though, there are some people who go, "Oh, so we're rooting for Dallas to get all the way to the final, right?" No, I'm not. I'm rooting for them to get knocked off in 4 games. I want them out as soon as possible because I want that pick to be as high as possible for the Sharks, the number 1 pick. I could give a shit about that 4th round pick, the magic bean, right?
I mean, again, a fourth and a third, I don't really care. You have this around the same probability of landing an NHLer, whether you're in the 4th or the 3rd round. Again, it's a lotto. With that first, yeah, I mean, you want it high. But again, like depending if the Sharks land 1, if the Sharks land 1, I think they're going Schaefer, so maybe they don't go that route. But like if the Sharks land 2, I could easily see Grier packaging that first and like the 33rd pick and trading up to land one of those defensemen, a right shot D, whether it be Hensler or there's a few other guys there. So I don't know if Grier actually is using this first or if he's going to package it to maybe land a Simon Nemec. Not saying that's going to get you Simon Nemec. I'm just throwing that out there.
Well, what has been the most entertaining, though, about this trade is just whenever these happen, I love to read the experts on social media, of course. You get a few talking about how, oh, my God, Jim Nill is cooking. He fleeced the Sharks by getting their top scorer and top pair D for Magic Beans. And then you see the other post claiming Grier was cooking by getting value for an UFA that could have easily walked this summer, as well as getting value for a defenseman that wouldn't be on the top pair of any other team. And if Granny likes it in San Jose so much, as he had said earlier, Grier can always bring him back in the offseason.
That is true.
Right? So, but it's just, it's really fun to just watch the tennis match between the comment sections of everybody trying to, say why it was good for their team. And then, of course, there were a couple Dallas fans that were kind of not happy about, why are we giving up a top pick for this fucking guy?
I mean, Dallas is like so injury right now. They're kind of pulling a Vegas where they're LTIRing because they LTRI'd Sagan, and now they have a buttload of cap space. And you got yourself a top 6 forward and a defenseman who on the bottom pair is fine, just not on your top pair. It's going to be really funny when CC signs back with the Sharks in free agency.
Oh, God. Please, no.
I'm joking.
All right. So before we move on to stock up, stock down, I guess the question now becomes who takes their place? Who, is the backfill? We've already seen that Thrun is playing with Wallman. Yikes.
I would love for them to. Thompson's already called up. I'd love to see Thompson on the top pair with Wally.
I got to tell you, I was thinking the same thing.
But I don't think that's gonna happen. Unfortunately.
And does Potsy get a look?
I don't know if they want to derail the CUDA that much. I would love for Potsy to get a look. Don't get me wrong, but the CUDA have also been falling off a cliff. I wouldn't be surprised to see Colin Graff because they got a top 6 forward out, bringing Graffy back in because he didn't look too out of place. Gushin is another guy I could see getting the
Sharks
call.
is for the kids.
I don't know if they want to complete because you take Portorowski off the CUDA. I'm scared for the result, but I could see them. He does deserve a chance. He's, I believe, still leading the AHL in points last time I checked, with a whopping 45 and 41 games played. That's insanity. He's somehow only a +1, which I find really funny. But like on defense, I want to see them give Thompson a chance, but if not, give Graff or Potsy a chance. Maybe we see Philip Beestead. Probably
he
not
just
this
got
year.
back.
Yeah, he just got back, so probably not. But Okay, listen, Bordalo, yes. I will say Bordalo's people. Yes, Bordalo's also another guy getting a call up, all right? I love I said Beasted over Bordalo just to piss people off.
Oh my God. All right. Well, either way, they have 3 games this week that we'll look at in a little bit, but somebody's got to play those minutes, so it'll be fun to see what happens. Dank saying Cardwell and Mukamadulin. I mean, it very well could be.
It could be.
Yeah, we'll find out. It's always fun to play bingo with this stuff. Let's get to our stock up, stock down. So, I mean, for me, it's I got 3 in each. So for my stock up on the week, Mikhail Granlund. You've had 7 points in your last 5 games, and you just got traded to a contender that's going to be here next Saturday.
I can't wait for the Hattie.
Yeah, I look forward to that hat trick. Will Smith, you have points in 6 straight. So, Ferda. And Askarov, that game against Pittsburgh, as we stated earlier, probably your best look of the entire season, as far as I'm concerned. Is there anybody else that you would have stock up on this week? I mean, Cuda or the Sharks,
I'm gonna go. I mean, Will Smith, I do want to give credit for because ever since that benching in was it Florida game? I don't remember. There's been a lot of shit games, but ever since that benching, he's been on fire.
Yeah, maybe you want to try that with Goodrow, Warsaw. Maybe that'll get Goodrow off the schneid. But go ahead.
No, I mean, ever since then he's been absolutely on fire. Eklund, I thought overall has just improved so much. Like Eklund doesn't get enough love, but because of a Celebrini coming in, because of a Will Smith coming in, I think Eklund gets a little overshadowed at times right now. But him and Eklund and Celebrini are starting to form this really good chemistry. And I'm excited because, our future is looking good. So yeah, probably Eklund and Smitty are my 2 stock ups for the week.
All right. Before we go to stock down, I got to hit Tarantula's comment here. For Sharks games, they should put a sensor in the puck so that it plays a fart sound over the loudspeakers at SAP every time a Shark touches the puck. So, I think not every time, but there's certainly some times where when they whiff or something, you just hear.
Yeah.
I wouldn't hate that.
Oh God, I don't think that's a good audience experience, but sure,
dude. And you're talking about a call up to take care of Granlund, and I tell me if I'm getting this wrong, Dan. He says going off the board entirely. Igor.
Yeah. Chernyshov's in the OHL, so the Sharks can't call him up, but I will get to him. When we talk about the Cuda and prospects, I'll mention him. Trust me. He has some highlight reels already.
True that.
2 games in.
Stock down this week or just over the last 5, which is typically how I try to watch games. Again, maybe I'm picking on the guy, but Barclay Goodrow. Dude, for the money you're making, what are you doing here, man? Last 5 games, you're averaging almost 13 minutes per game. You're only 27% in the dot. You lead the team with a -6, and somehow you didn't get benched for gliding in the game against Seattle. I
don't know if San Jose still has a voodoo doll of Barclay Goodrow scoring the OT winner, so they're too scared to do anything with him.
Maybe that's it. Maybe it's in the locker room is probably that overhead shot of him scoring on Flower. And,
yeah.
And so it's he's just
he's because he's probably also Dewar had some moments where I was like, what are you doing there, boy, with some of the turnovers he's made.
Oh yeah.
Dewar is he's again big guy, lots of speed, just kind of part on the forecheck, but at times puck play is just making me want to throw up.
Yeah,
so it's either him or because Dewar has had flashes, Goodrow has had 0 flashes and all. He had a 2-game hot streak and then decided I'm going to go back to sleep.
Yeah,
so.
I'm interested to see what happens when some of the injury bug disappears. Maybe Goodrow sees, a game from the box at some point.
I'm excited for when the Red Wings trade for him and Jake Wallman for a first-round pick.
That would be fantastic. Oh, man. I would love that.
Sorry, Detroit, but I will pick on you.
I would love that. The other I got a couple more stock downs. The power play. I mean, no power play goals in the last 3 games. only 2 in the last 5. And when you're on it, you don't have enough shots or high danger chances. Figure it out. And finally, also for stock down, Askarov. I know I had you for stock up for Pittsburgh. I got you stock down for allowing 3 goals on 3 shots in Seattle. Is there anybody else that you would kind of go, pick it up, pal?
I think just the defense of the Sharks. If you could just be a little bit better.
Yeah.
Just maybe like,
Make better decisions.
I've seen players in my ball hockey league play better than the Sharks defense has in the past like 2 months. So if we could just like improve our defense just by like, if everyone could just be like 1% less dumb with the puck, this team could actually be a little bit better. So
Yes.
there's that.
Yes. If you could just be less stupid, we'd appreciate that. Dank asking, how long are we stuck with Goodrow? Doesn't he have like 2 more years after
2
this?
years.
Oh, for Pete's sake.
But like by the end of his like that last year, he's gonna be in the press box. So it's fine.
Oh, yeah, like him, I feel bad, but like him and Couture should just hang out together and just be like, remember that game 7, dude? Like they can just sit there and talk about that until they're both blue in the face.
Yeah, like they're again, Goodrow was brought in as a locker room guy, and that's about it.
Yeah, and not the most willing, if we remember what happened. California Cruising saying, what happened to the net cams in the NHL? I don't see them anymore. That's a great question.
The NHL always takes away good ideas that they had, so.
With the exception of the glow puck.
With the exception of the glow puck.
Yeah. All right, let's move on here to what happened?
Just way fucking Goodrow, Cunnin is miles better. I mean, they both kind of have been awful lately, but I'll take Cunnin over Goodrow.
Yeah, no doubt. The NHL has spent the last few weeks. This is one thing that I guess the NHL we can say is good at. They're really good about manufacturing hype.
Yep.
And to the point where it's needless and unnecessary. This time they said, okay, so, I'm sure somebody came along and said, hey, what if we did quarter century teams? And they said, yeah, we can milk that for a month. So, they could have easily released them all in a day and let people debate it and move on. But instead, nope, we spread it out over 32 because content is king. But, I mean, it's like, how do you do that for Utah?
Oh, I saw Utah's team. Yeah, I mean, they just did it based off this year, primarily.
Yeah, and it's like come
just
on.
do it based off this year.
And even like Seattle, and it's like there's just there's some teams that like shouldn't they have to exist a minimum of 10 years for them to be over 25?
They wanted everyone to be included. I get it.
Yeah. So I mean, but this seems so obvious for the Sharks. Like I wrote down my picks and tweeted them, hours before they were selected, and I got 9 out of 10. I mean, if I can do that, it's like, okay, this was really obvious. But, of course, all the back and forth and the debate and the contention, all, of course, surrounding EK65. So I think we can all agree the first team, that's it. That should be it. Like, if you have an argument for this, it's like this should be it. Like, this seems right. There really is no discussion about this. The quarter, like this is the most predictable, obvious selection ever in the history of making choices. Now,
absolutely,
we move on to the second team, and that's where things kind of go.
This is where we disagree.
Yeah, and so I think most people would agree. On the forward side of it, Couture, Hurdle, absolutely.
Yeah, 100%.
And then that 6th forward starts to get a little debated. Now, I had Nolan on my selection, but there were some that would point Chichu. There were some that said Timo. There was some, I think there was a couple heroes that might have even said Damphus.
I don't mind this.
I think honestly, this is correct. Nolan gave this team their first real identity, and this is the quarter century team. You think of the impact that it began when Nolan scored from center ice in 2000.
Yeah.
And that's when it all kind of started to go right for San Jose. So, and he, the first real captain of this team. No disrespect to those before him, but let's call it fair. And Callie Cruzen saying, what, LeBanc didn't make the quarter century team? But 4 assists in game 7. And I'm sure there's somebody who said, hey, how could Goodrow not be the 6th one on there?
God.
Because game 7.
Oh my God, no.
So anyway, I still think those selections, yes, those were correct. Now, if they had tried to put Timo in there, I would have fought it. I would have said no. Oh, and I'm sorry, Ryan Clough was another one. And that
I could see Closey, yeah.
Exactly.
I get the argument for that one, 100%.
Yeah, that I could see them trying to bandy it about between Nolan and Clough. I can't see anybody else above those 2 guys. Now we move to the bone of contention.
Deep breaths, AJ.
Yeah. So Burns and Vlasic, absolutely. So Boyle for me was a no-brainer. I think if Burns wasn't here as long as he was, I think you could make an argument that Boyle should have been part of the first team. But Burns was, such an impact. And I think there's something to be said too, is like, well, Burnsy's on the first team, but as a defenseman, how many years was he playing forward for us?
I mean, he won a Norris as a defenseman. Like you got it. Yeah.
Of course. So let's get to the Karlsson discussion. So on my list, I had Braun. And the reason being is because I took this whole quarter century team that it was about the impact that you had during your career here with San Jose, however long that may have been. Stewart was here for 8 seasons, had 170 points. And I think I could be very easily talked into having Stewart up there with Boyle as part of that team. But I always go back to that Stewart was never the same player after the Jody Shelley hit. He was just not the same guy. And I think you could mention Hannon, 626 games, more than any of the other ones that you would consider over 11 seasons. Not a big point producer, of course, that wasn't his game. But I have always referred to it, that series against Colorado in 2004, Forsberg was nothing because Hannon was his shadow. But that's just one series.
Yeah.
And then I look at Justin Braun, 9 seasons, and was a great shutdown guy. And if you look at these first team, second team, Braun and Boyle would make a great pairing.
I'm less upset on EK than I think most are in humanity. So, listen, I love Justin Braun. I think he was great for the Sharks. Him and Vlasic were a very, very, very good shutdown pairing for a very long time. You know what Karlsson has that Braun doesn't have?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, like the Norris Trophy and the 100-point season, I get it. Like I get why he's on this list over others. Do I agree? I'm fine with this. Do you have to agree? No. I understand why they put Karlsson there. I get that Sharks fans don't like him, but that's all I'll say to that. I'm not going down this rabbit hole right now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm just.
I was not 5 when Braun left the Sharks, people. What the fuck is happening?
Well, I'm just sharing my
No,
version.
and I respect it.
Yeah, I'm sharing my take on it in a calm and controlled manner. For me, EK was with San Jose for only 5 seasons. He never played a full season until his last. And, coincidentally, also the only season without Burns on the other side. And it's easy to score a lot of points when you don't play defense.
True.
And
I mean, you could argue the same with Burns.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But this was a quarter century team. And again, to me, that means your impact over your time with San Jose, not just one amazing season, one average season, and 3 injury-riddled, mediocre seasons. So
I get that. I hear you.
And if we're playing by the rule of one great season is enough, well, then Chichu replaces Pavelski on the first team. Rocket Richard Winter, 56, goals. If one great season puts you up there, then how is Chichu not on the first team? You know what I mean?
I get that argument. That's a good argument. Again, I don't lose sleep over this, but like I get it. There's like 5 other players I can name on forward that I would maybe switch then over those 3, but yeah. The Sharks blue line did fall apart when Justin Braun left. Again, he was just. I get why people loved the guy. Him and Vlasic he made Vlasic better than I think some people gave Braun credit for. Like he
Yep.
made Vlasic better. What happened when Braun left? Pickles got cut in half. So, yeah, I get it.
Well, it was like Braun was kind of the Vlasic whisperer, the way that like Paul Martin was the Burns whisperer. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's
So,
like, I will
well,
say a lot of EK65 partners did get traded. Their defensive partner get traded. So in a way, he did bring more assets over to San Jose, if you think about it like that, because every partner he was playing with did get traded for something. Now,
Jake
whether they got a
Middleton,
lot-
we miss you, buddy.
Middleton, who's the other guy? Oh my God, Jacob Megna, who then landed us Luca Cagnoni with that pick. I'm just saying, if
Nice.
you think about it that way.
Oh man, Chris is trying to push my buttons. If 5 seasons is a problem, what about Dan Boyle with 6? Is that enough?
Paul Martin is another guy. Martin was also him and Burnsy were a very good pairing.
Yeah. All right, we should probably get out of this before the chat melts down.
The chat's already melting now.
There you go. All right.
Thank you,
And-
Molasses.
Well, and Ale just came in with Marcel Gotch. So, yep, it's time to move on. The Sharks had a season ticket event last week where Grier, Warsofsky, and President Jonathan Becher took questions from what was reported as elevated 365 members. I don't know what that means, but that's what it was reported as. And also reported, Grier said he's not had any serious contract negotiations with the group of pending UFAs and said it's unlikely he'll sign any of those players to extensions before the deadline on the 7th.
That should have been a bell
Yeah.
to all of us.
The Sharks have 5 UFAs on one-way deals right now. The aforementioned Luke Cunnin. You also have the injured Nico Sturm, the injured Jan Ruda, and the just back Vanecek, and then, of course, Georgiev. I said it earlier. I don't know that you're going to, in this current shape, I don't know that any team would come knocking for Vanecek now and Georgiev. Not to say that they couldn't be moved.
Someone clip this. It's going to happen.
You're right. But not to say that they couldn't be packaged with somebody else, if you get what I'm saying.
Jan Ruda is going to be thriving on the trade market.
So much so. I mean, if Grier's able to move 3 out of 5 of these, I would be like,
jumping.
Yeah, I'd be like, money,
Yeah,
Mike
jumping.
at it again. How is this guy not getting GM of the year?
There's an argument out there for that.
Dude, I'm saying it. Although it was funny though, because there were some quotes from some guys when asked about, because it is that time of the year where the beat writers start, poking the needling about, so your contract's up, eh? And I love the responses of, I'd love to stay, and I'm more than willing to stay, and because what else are they going to say? Like, start the car, get me out of here.
Like, what are they supposed to say? Yeah, I want to actually make the playoffs for a change.
Yeah, just
What is playoff hockey?
the coffee here sucks. I want to go.
Yeah, the coffee here is horrible, people. It's absolutely the worst.
Oh man, I just like, what else are you gonna say? But if he's able to move out those pieces or get just anything else of value right now, I mean, I think you have to call. And if they finish last, if they net yet another first round, how do you not look at this season as a success and certainly more entertaining than last?
I mean, Celebrini and Smith helped that case.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, like, listen, the Sharks are way more entertaining, and so are the Cuda from last year. Way entertaining. And yes, Askarov helps, but like the Cuda probably suck without Askarov. Let's just be real here. But
Oh, and what's Tyga saying? Grier got dragged by Shang for putting together a pretty poor team this year again.
that was the plan, wasn't
yeah,
it?
I
We
mean-
weren't supposed to be good this year, were we? Did I miss the memo?
Well, to be fair, I feel like Grier and Shang have had some pretty decent back and forths. Like sometimes,
Greer roast him like 95%.
yeah, I was gonna say Grier kind of goes out of his way to roast him, but I also feel like Shang asks some important questions that maybe he just is upset that he has to answer.
No, I get that.
I
I
and
mean, that's
it's-
Shang's job. Like, I'm not
Exactly.
trying to be mean here. Like, that's literally Shang makes money off of that. Like, that's his job. He's supposed to ask the tough questions. And props to him for asking. I do want to see Shang have an interaction with Tortorella though at one point.
Oh, that would be fantastic.
I would love that. I would
When
love
does
that.
Philly play here?
We're done with them, I think, for the season, unless we play them in Philly, and I don't remember. I, I should know this, and I don't. So I'm so sorry.
I'm looking and I don't see it coming. And you know what? I feel like
Oh yeah, we're done with them for the season.
yeah, I was going to say I feel like Kevin Kurz has already done his, hits on both ways for that, so.
But yeah, no. I mean,
All right.
Also, I have a question for AJ. Do you think the trade deadline this year got moved because of Four Nations? Because I swear we've had like 18 trades in the last 2 weeks. Our GMs, most players that are traded have been from going to the Four Nations. I'm just pointing that out there. Granlund,
I mean-
Miller, Rantanen, all a part of the Four Nations tournament happening here next week.
Well, I think the hockey guy, Wyszynski, maybe LeBron, they all made a similar case for that, saying that
Like it's an early trade deadline for
Yeah.
GMs.
like this, I don't know, week or so of coming up to is JT Miller in the Four Nations?
JT Miller, I believe, is in the Four Nations.
See, yeah,
Someone
so,
yell
yeah.
at me if I'm wrong. But
I think you
swear,
got
he's
something.
in there.
Yeah, I think you got something going there. This is just ridiculous. During that Q&A, also Grier stated that Couture still the captain, still involved with the team, and I can completely appreciate wanting to keep Logan involved after all he's done for this franchise. But is keeping Couture as the captain through the end of this season and the next two, if he's not coming back, a good plan?
I don't mind it because let's be honest here, the next captain is celebrating.
Sure.
So like let's just be frank here. Like I'm not gonna sugarcoat this. Like
You can
the
be
next
frank. I'm
captain-
going to still be AJ, but go ahead.
I know. Oh my god, that's a really bad dad joke. But the next guy up is Celebrini, right? Puck guy pointed this out, and it's a really good point. Couture's contract ends once Celebrini's ELC ends.
Of course.
That next contract, I guarantee
All
you,
going
is gonna
to
come.
plan.
Yeah, I guarantee you it's gonna come with a C on Celebrini's jersey as part of the contract. So like I don't care for the next 3 years who the fuck has the captaincy, because the captaincy in San Jose doesn't really mean shit. It gets changed every other year anyways. So, just keep it. Oh God, not Mario. Keep it and then give it to Celebrini once the minute he's done. He's still in the room. He's a good guy for the kids to learn from. He's a locker room guy. He has his issues, we all know, but just keep it. No need to change it. No need for extra drama in San Jose right now. Keep it. I don't mind it.
Well, contracts are structured. I mean, Logan is still getting paid despite not playing, right?
Yeah, but they're not worried about the cap right now.
Oh no, I know, but
Yeah.
that's not my point. My point being is like, $32 million for 6 games is epic.
Oh, it's great. It's great for Logan. Good.
Yeah.
But
Like I feel
like-
bad. I mean, no one feels worse for the guy than I do. I'm a huge Logan fan, but like I feel at some point we got to figure out a way to turn the page. I mean, because remember, this is a team that has literally taken the C from 2 different guys while they were on the team, and their numbers are in the rafters.
yeah.
So,
Again, I think Logan is just a guy they want around Celebrini, around Smith, because like Logan Couture, we're forgetting how good he was. Like come playoffs, this guy was fucking monstrous.
There was a reason why he had the nickname Clutcher.
Yeah, like dude, come playoffs, he almost broke a ton of records, if I'm not mistaken. And he may have, I don't fully remember, but like I don't mind Celebrini and Smith learning from that. Clutchness, they both kind of already have that, but like I don't mind it if he's in the locker room, if he's helping out these young guys, if he's helping out the musties that come in, the Chernyshovs that come in, the Cagnonis, the list goes on, the Haltmans. I'm not opposed. Just make sure that C gets to Celebrini.
Diego speaking my language. Just make Pavelski captain again, even though he's retired. Absolutely.
He comes out of retirement. No, that's not happening. Guys.
No. He can just be captain from the box. That's fine.
Yeah.
Captain
from the press box.
Yeah. Either way, my point just being, it's tough to move forward when you cling too tightly to the past, and we know that the previous GM loved to cling to the past a little too tightly. Also, from that event, Jonathan Becher mentioned that there are talks happening with the city to extend the lease of SAP, but did kind of make it sound like July 1st is a very significant date. Like, I'm not going like zero barrier from Armageddon or anything, but that's only 5 months from now, and time goes by really fast. It seems like just yesterday they were talking about, oh yeah, 10 years from now, we have this 10-year deal and blah, blah, blah. Well, it's been 10 years and
Yeah.
they're looking for a 10 or 20 or 30-year extension based on the quotes from the event. I don't know why San Jose would waffle on this when you take into account how much money events bring to downtown and how this team has given San Jose an identity. But I look forward to seeing how this plays out over the next 5 months. It's, I mean, the only thing I can think of is like, would San Jose be trying to put some sort of pressure on, yeah, we want you here, but we want a new building as part of it?
Maybe, but I don't know.
Yeah. Again, something to look at over the next few months. Celebrini, speaking of that cat, was on KNBR Friday with Papa and Silver. I don't really. I'm familiar with Papa. I have no idea who the Silver guy is. A relatively benign conversation, as you'd expect. But can you really call yourself the Sharks leader when you acknowledge the team once a month, if that, and your ratings are in free fall? Like, I get, is this like insert The Simpsons and at least you tried GIF? I don't know. Oh, and speaking of last Friday, let's get this image up. Dad evidently took the boys out for some round ball. And I'll tell you, in this image, like, Celebrini is so me. Like, I would so be headfirst into my device if I was subjected to being at an NBA game. And
Hey, the NBA made its headlines this week, so let's not even. Yeah, Smith just looks scared again that they're not going to acknowledge him. I don't know, but I love
they
the Red Bull
remember
hat
who I
by
am.
Smith. Yeah, I'm like, do they remember who I? Celbrini's just like, I don't know what's happening. And there's Jumbo and like the dad. He's really giving like dad of 3 teenage kids. That hair and
Yeah, he's like, if I have to
he's
deal with these fucking teenagers any
yeah,
longer.
it's like, why the fuck am I here?
I love it. And I also love the fact that none of them have on anything Warriors.
No,
None
of them have. Yeah, no.
It's the youngest looks to have like a Yankees hat on or something.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's great. Let's move on to some stuff around the NHL. Per Chris Johnston.
Oh Lord.
Oh my God. Utah, it's been announced, is no longer pursuing Yeti as a potential permanent team name because of the trademark issues with the drinkware company. I still don't get this. I don't understand how you can't work out some sort of a deal that, like, hey, we're going to use the name Yeti or whatever. We sign a deal that says we can use the name. We won't make any drinkware that has our logo on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so whatever. They put out the announcement. The organization will have fans attending the next 4 home games, and they're going to be placing votes on 3 possibilities. Continuing with the Utah Hockey Club.
Please no.
Going with the Utah Mammoth.
Yes.
And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, they brought in the Utah Wasatch. And I was like, wait, what?
What?
And I'm like, what happened to Blizzard? What happened to Venom?
Didn't one of them get replaced with wasn't one of them replaced with something else? I don't remember.
Well,
but
Wasatch evidently came in as a replacement for something.
okay.
But
All right.
Yeti, Blizzard, and Venom, I guess, all were denied through patent office issues. But I remember them saying Outlaws and Fury. And I'm like, what the hell happened to those names? So
Chris.
now the funny thing is, I guess, so one game went by.
Mhm.
Right. And Chris is absolutely right in the chat, by the way. If it wasn't for KNBR 95.7 ignoring, we wouldn't be doing this. But anyway, the Utah Hockey Club posted, "Hey, Utah fans, we listened to your feedback, dug into all the Qualtrics data from last night's survey. For the team name, it's clear that Outlaws should be in the mix instead of Wasatch, so we're swapping it out. Surveys will continue at the arena Friday, Sunday, and Tuesday for you to vote on the options. Excited to see the votes roll in." But so I'm like, wow, that escalated quickly. I still feel like the Outlaws sound more like an Arena League football team than an NHL team.
I want the Mammoths. I don't know if you saw some of those jerseys that people were creating. Those look sick. I don't know. My vote's on the Mammoths. I just think that'd be fun.
Well, but I don't. It's going to be singular.
Mammoth, whatever.
Yeah.
It's fine. I still like it.
Okay, now I have a few things to say. First off, here are the options that I would, these are the ones that tickle my ass with a feather. Utah Hockey Club, if they continue with that,
I'm gonna throw up.
I don't really care either way. Like when Washington went from Washington football team to Washington Commanders, I honestly thought it was a step down. I think if they go from Utah Hockey Club to Utah Outlaws, I feel like it's a step down. But anyway, hear me out. Utah Hockey Club, but next year they announce their mascot. The name of the mascot is Yeti. And the thing on the front, the crest on the front is a Yeti. They're still the Utah Hockey Club, but all of their, but they have this mascot.
They just have
Yeti.
Yeti. Oh,
and
that'd
his
be
face
fucking
is on the
hilarious.
front of everything.
Oh, that'd be fucking hilarious.
Okay, now is that great? Is that a huge middle finger?
That's funny. That's funny.
All right. Now, here's my other one. The Utah Mammoth. If you don't name the mascot Wooly, what are we doing here? Woolly Mammoth. Come on, just print money off of that. What are we doing? And then now I'm glad they got rid of Wasatch, because I'll tell you, when I first heard that, I'm like, I'm never gonna call them that. I'm gonna be like the Utah Wasatch.
Yeah. No, for sure.
Wasatch. That's what I would have done.
Sponsored by Yeti.
Yeah, of course. Now here's my final one. This is completely off the board. For those of you who are aware with the mythology of it, this Utah hockey team, this is about a franchise that is rising from the ashes of Arizona, right? Hear me out. You call the team. You ready for it?
Yeah.
The Utah Phoenix.
Oh.
That's some next level shit right there.
That is, yeah, no, for
The
sure.
Utah Phoenix.
For sure.
That is just a huge middle finger to Arizona and the whole Coyotes debacle. I
feel
love
bad
that.
for Arizona fans, but yeah, no, I mean, I'm curious what name ends up getting chosen.
It's got to be
and
Mammoth.
please be less creepy than the Seattle Kraken mascot. That's all.
It's got to be.
Seattle.
It's got to be Mammoth. I don't think there's any way.
I think it's
and
gonna
it's
be Mammoth
less
by a long shot,
because the other options are so bad.
Yeah,
And not
if the
because
other
it's
options
so
were
great.
Good. Yeah, I mean, I like Mammoth, but that's like the type of team I created in Shell. But
Yeah, but
like it's a type of Shell team, but I don't mind it compared to the other options.
well, Brody did a cast about the kind of talking about the Outlaws, and he shared some fan art or whatever, and I'm like, oh, it's not helping your cause. Like the fan art makes it worse of a
Yeah.
selection. Whereas the Mammoth fan art, I'm like, I might be able to get behind this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So anyway, let's see what happens. But come on, Mammoth, please.
Come on, I'm rooting for Mammoth. Let's go.
And,
Make it happen, boys.
Also from Johnston, he posted that the NHL and NHLPA are forecasting significant salary cap bumps on the current 88 mil ceiling, in the coming years. It's a great time to be hitting free agency. Let me tell you that.
Oh yeah, you're gonna get paid.
Dude, people about to get the bag. Let me ask you this. Is Macklin going to be the first $10 million plus forward for the Sharks?
So this helps teams who already have their young stars locked up. This does not help the Sharks, in my humble opinion.
No.
Like this helps the Jack Hughes. This helps the the New Jersey, like the Devils. Like this
Cale
significantly helps the
Makars.
Devils. Like the Cale Makar. Well, his deal's almost up, so it doesn't fully.
Oh, really?
Help him.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
nice.
his deal's coming up. That's why they traded Rantanen, because they didn't want the percentage of the cap. You know?
Oh, I got you.
But this is gonna make when Eklund has to be paid, when Celebrini has to be paid, when Smith has to be paid, very interesting, because the cap at that point is going to be in the 100 millions. This doesn't help the Sharks. They're going to have to pay these kids when Askarov is coming up. So it'll be interesting, because if I'm not mistaken, Askarov, like Eklund, Askarov, Salbrini, Smith, all are just in consecutive orders of how they get off the books. So it'll be interesting, but I don't think this helps the Sharks. Like, it's great to have cap space. Grier's gonna have to be. I'm curious if he uses the deferred money method to try and make sure that we can still not be completely squished to the cap. So I'm curious because Macklin he's gonna demand some money. Smith might not as much depending on how this goes, but like Celebrini, you want him. I mean, you want all of them locked up long term, but like I'm curious to see how that looks like.
Yeah, I'm like, is he going to be the first, double-digit money-making forward? Or the first 12, the first guy to make 12 over 12 per year? Because it was Carlson that set the record, right, for with 11.
Well, yeah, but
11
now
and a
it's
half?
like way over. Like now, like McKinnon, I think is making 14.
No, but I'm just
Yeah.
talking just for the Sharks.
Oh, yeah,
Isn't the
he should
Shark?
be your highest paid player.
But
no
I'm
doubt.
saying that the highest paid player so far in Sharks history was
Oh,
Carlson.
I see. Yeah, he'll
right?
pass.
Yeah.
He should pass that, but that depends. Like, he might also get a steal of a deal with him. You never know. Like, I'm not saying he's not worth. Like right now, I mean, if he keeps up this pace for the 3 years, like how much are you willing to give him? 12, 12.5, and lock him up for 8 years?
Well,
That's a steal of a bargain.
the other thing is once San Jose, finally the pendulum swings the other way and they start winning again. My other question is, will we see Celebrini start to segue to becoming one of the big faces of the NHL like we've seen
should.
from, McDavid or Hughes or McCarr or anything? When is
I think
that
he has a
going to
bit more of
happen?
personality than a McDavid.
Maybe, but I will tell you that interview on KMBR, he didn't show off a lot of it, but I think that said more about who was interviewing him than, him
I
himself.
think him and Smith are gonna become too interesting.
They're going to become like the next Hurdle and Wingles.
Maybe, but like to a greater extent. Like, you know what I mean? Like they're like Eklund is also kind of in this group, but not really. Like they're like the two the two actual building stones of this, and Askarov to an extent. But like, you know what I mean? Like they just feel like those two are just they're gonna be connected. It's like a Thornton and Marlowe situation, but on drugs because they were drafted 1 year apart. Their ELCs are ending at the same time. Maybe they go for matching deals come when their ELCs expire. Isn't that cute? And you're
Yeah.
getting a bargain on both. You might be overpaying for Smith, arguably a little, but even then you're getting a bargain.
Well, and I remember at one point Thornton like willing to give up some money on his deal to keep Marlowe.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
uh,
Molasses, you can defer money. I think Anaheim did it with the Vetrano deal, if I'm not mistaken. I read somewhere about it where GMs they're starting to use that like deferred money. You don't do like what Shohei Ohtani with the Dodgers. I'm not saying
Jesus,
that type, but like I wouldn't be surprised if Grier like tweaks it. Like this Zetterlund's contract is going to be interesting because that's like the first part. Like and so is Eklund's. Like Zetterlund and Eklund's, I'll be curious to see what he does with those two because they can demand a lot. Like they're going to get paid.
I like Callie Cruzen's earlier comment. It says Yeti Drinkware is loving all of this free publicity. I mean, sure, people are talking about the brand, but it certainly isn't in a positive way. I don't know of a single, if I'm the NHL, if there's any licensing deal with the Yeti, I'm going, yeah, we're going to go ahead and pull that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be wanting that. If I'm a hockey fan, I'm like, yeah, I'm not buying anything that has Yeti on it. Fuck those guys.
Oh, Askarov did something. He put on a show hold on. He walked it off after shutting it down during the breakaway relay. So he's back to his old self. Check out my Twitter. I retweeted it. So
Shenanigans. The Four Nations jersey. Okay, I'm going to go on a rant for a second.
go
here.
have at it.
The Four Nations jerseys finally dropped at retail this past week, and reportedly only certain players are pre-made in the premium version.
I saw that. Yeah.
The C's and A's don't come on them, which makes no sense.
That makes no sense.
By releasing them 2 weeks before the event, the likelihood of getting a custom one in time to wear to the game is borderline impossible if you want a player that's, not part of the pre-made group. It just begs the question, NHL, why do you hate making money? Because if you look on social media, I saw so many Jersey Hounds talking about how they would have bought one back in November so that they would have had time to get it customized, get exactly what they wanted. And we're talking about they would be buying the authentic and premium ones, the cha-ching ones. And we see this over and over, whether it's Stadium Series, Winter Classic, All-Star, basically any one-off jersey, instead of having it available months before the game, building demand, no, we're just going to put it out 2 weeks before the event, leave the hundreds of thousands of dollars on the table. The salary cap would be 150 already if they fix this nonsense. Stop it. NHL, stop leaving money on the table. Put stuff out earlier. Finally, evidently Canadians are now booing the U.S. national anthem
I saw that.
for games in Canada. Can you blame them? Can you blame them?
Yeah.
Somebody, I don't know if it was Felix, I saw somebody brought it up a little bit earlier when we were talking about the cap. Like, how is the cap, the money difference between Canada and the US dollar? Let's see how that works. Oof.
Yeah.
I don't know. But I'll be interested. Now I'm like, okay, now I totally want to watch the beginning of any game where, Canada is hosting an American team just to see what happens.
I mean, they're getting booed basically every time right now. I think it happened at the Canucks game again. So
There you go. So pay attention to that. All right, let's go to that other team for a hot minute.
Ooh, Barracuda.
Whoa. Oh, man.
as AJ chokes.
Whoa, you ever have a Gatorade go down the wrong pipe? Holy crap. Woo. That's a special kind of... Ugh. All right. The Barracuda. Oh, mercy. Excuse me. 4th place in the Pacific last I checked, and they played a pair against Henderson. A 6-2 win followed by a 2-1 shootout loss. So that 6-2 win, you had Vanecek in a rehab start, stopping 22 of 24. Beestead returns from injury and assists on the first goal less than 3 minutes in. Defenseman Muka Madulin would get 3 assists in this one. Meanwhile, current defensive hero for the Barracuda, Luca Cagnoni, netting the game-winning goal on the power play.
Yes. After
Even
getting hit with a puck in the face, he came back and just scored.
even
Love that
brand new Barracuda, Regenda.
Yeah, Regenda.
Regenda got 2 assists in this one, as did Ethan Cardwell. Just a thorough stomping, and Colin Graff is your first star. How can you not like that? Little different in the second game.
Yeah, very different.
Is it Houle?
Yep, Donovan Houle.
All right. Scored the only goal in this game with help from Robbins and Cardwell, while Romanoff stopped 45 of 46 and got the second star. This was the annual Pink in the Rink game, so virtual high fives to all of you who came out to support. And same goes for all that came out to the Jersey Expo yesterday morning and afternoon at Calder's. So I look forward to next year. Hope to have a table out there so we can maybe get some jersey swapping going. So anything else stand out for you in these 2 games versus Henderson?
Yeah, I didn't get a chance to watch these 2. But from the highlights I watched, from everything I watched, the CUDA are gonna. I wouldn't be surprised if the CUDA need Askarov. Let's put it that way. The CUDA need Askarov. I'm curious to remember what the record is without Askarov. But Askarov was definitely at the beginning of the year making them look way better than they actually are.
It's weird because there was some games where Romanoff looked great, Carrier looked great, and
That
then
reminds me.
then
Yeah,
there'd be a couple where you just kind of go, oi, 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 and then somebody's going, what the fuck is Dell doing here?
I do want to give props to Romanov last night. He was insanely good.
Oh yeah,
Romanov had a very good night. He's a guy that's a little underrated to a certain degree because with Askarov coming in. But I'm going to go Colin Graff has 33 games played, 30 points in the AHL. Like, the dude's been on fire. This is just going to be a little prospect roundup. If you haven't watched Igor Chernyshov play, you should watch Igor Chernyshov play. The dude's a fucking highlight reel and should have not dropped to the second round, but because of shoulder surgery, GMs got scared. The dude, it's a small sample size, but in 2 games played has 4 points. One of them where he was a 5-on-1 and just sniped it on the goalie.
love to see it.
Sam Dickinson is back to his regular scheduled shenanigans with 58 points in 36 games. Cameron Lund, your guy, is putting up 24 games played, 26 points.
I like Lund, but
Northeast-
remember, I'm also a big pole camp guy. But go ahead.
We'll get to Northeastern sucks though. He's like the heart, and so like he's basically carrying that team on his shoulders. Like they're fucking god awful. Pole Camp though with Denver. Pole Camp's another sneaky guy that just doesn't get talked about. Because the Sharks prospect pool is still insane, and that's minus Smith and Selly. 26 games, 23 points. So the Sharks prospects are doing well. They're lighting up their respective leagues. It's nice to see Dickinson bounce back after a horrid start. And yeah, like Ian said, Romanov was the only reason that they were in yesterday's. Yeah, the team was awful. So, yeah.
Oh, what was it? Tarantula, did you attend Mitch's Jersey Showcase yesterday? I did not. I had a lot of stuff that I had to take care of. Sometimes life gets in the way, people. You have it.
Sure.
Sometimes you have to do adulting, and yesterday was an adulting day. But again, like I said, Mitch, I'm sure will do another one, and it looked, from what I understand, all the tables sold out, and there was a lot of looked like they were jammed in there pretty tight. So I look forward to doing it again next season, and that one I should be a part of. The other thing I did want to mention is when you talk about okay, I'm still gonna mess this up. It's Romanov or Romanov?
I call it Romanov, but Lacey probably knows. I just go Romanov. If
All
I'm
right.
wrong, yell at me in the chat.
You know who we're talking about. You know what? Win the Calder Trophy, and I'll learn your name, kid. But
They have a chance.
yeah. But Nabby had a lot of good things to say during intermission with Nolenberger about Romanov, and that was because this game was broadcast on NBCSN. Should say that this week the CUDA will host a pair against the Roadrunners, and the February 7th game will be on NBCSN. So if you haven't had a chance to watch the CUDA, but you get that broadcast, go check that out. I'm assuming that Remenda will be on with Nolenberger again. So, I mean, anytime I'd listen to Remenda call soccer, and I hate soccer. So
Remenda's awesome. We love Drew.
he's awesome. So, Chernyshov had that 2-goal game versus Saginaw this week. So, it's, obviously Jules is going to be keeping an eye on that boy.
Him and Michael Misa, who's a draft prospect in the 2025 draft. I'm throwing this out there. If the Sharks don't land one, you'll hear me push for Misa, because him and Chernyshov are showing some flashes of really good chemistry. And that gives you the opportunity for a Musty Celebrity Smith line down the future.
Ooh. Wow. How's Musty doing lately, by the way?
Oh, yeah. I forgot to mention Quentin Musty. Quentin Musty played 19 games. The dude has 31 points. He's doing just fine.
Well, since coming back, yay.
Since coming back,
wanting to be traded.
And wanting to be traded. He has 14 goals, 17 assists. Is a -5. So take with that what you will. Dickinson's a +35.
So ridiculous.
Uh,
All right. Coming up this week, the Sharks will host Montreal. 7th in the Atlantic. Not having a great season. What are you going to do?
Yeah.
So I think if the Sharks are going to win any game this week, that's the one that you would think is most likely. Especially,
naturally, they're going to lose that one like 8-1. So.
Well, you might not be wrong. But
Hmm?
you would hope that after getting bag skated and everything, that maybe that would turn something up. But then, of course, what did they follow up the bag skate with? Oh, we're going to get rid of our top defensive defenseman and our top scorer.
Yeah, we bag skated Cece and Granlund for no reason.
I know, poor bastards. So, yeah, if they have any shot at it, there you go. Oh, Ian, look at that saying, I'm going to watch Musty on the 28th. That's awesome.
I'm jealous.
Very cool. Take pictures. Tweet it out. After Montreal, the Sharks will host Vancouver. I mean, another positive thing you can say is that the Sharks are home all week before the Four Nations break. So I'm sure the boys are kind of jacked to be like, all right, so we going to Cabo? We going to the Keys? Where are we going?
I mean, Smith and Celebrini are headed to the Bean Pod after, so.
Vancouver is the next one, 5th in the Pacific. I mean, not where
Yeah, we're gonna get smoked, but
well, not where most people had Vancouver at the start of the season, but not a lot of people saw that there was going to be turmoil between JT
him,
Miller
the
and
diva of all hockey. Yeah.
yeah, I guess so. And for some reason, Vancouver wanting to collect all the Pedersens in the league.
Oh yes, the Vancouver decided we're gonna assemble the Pedersens.
It's like it sounds like a 80s family sitcom, the Pedersens.
Yeah, the Pedersens. No, that's obnoxiously funny. Yeah, the memes are outrageous.
Dude. But then, but is it really that different from having, 3 or 4 guys on your roster with Lund in their name? You know what I mean?
No, I mean the Sharks are assembling all the Lunds.
Yeah.
I mean they disassembled one of
That's
them.
what I want to say. Lunds, assemble.
Assemble. Yeah. Yeah. I'm sure that's how Warsaw said it at practice.
So I'm interested to see how the Vancouver game goes now that turmoil has finally left the building. Is that going to turn things up a notch for them? Are they going to come out with a little more jam in their game? What's going to happen?
They better.
You would think. And then, as we said earlier, regarding the trade made, Dallas comes in next weekend, 2nd in the Central, just the game before the Four Nations break. Now that's going to be tough because Dallas is dealing with some injuries, but they just
they just got Marchment back. Like they got people back. They got Marchment, then they added Granlund, and they added CC, and they're fine.
So, but either way, it's like if anything like that could be last time I looked, Otter's still there, right?
Yeah, Otter's still there.
Yeah, that's the game where I go, oh man, they could get smoked, and the thing that really gets you is and they have to sit with that for 2 weeks.
Yeah, I'm hoping that's the type of game where they surprise us and don't get
that
mobbed.
That Tampa game, where Tampa and New Jersey, you're like, oh, well done, couple of good home wins, surprising. San Jose has the opportunity to do that, but man, if they get blown out of the building and have to sit with that for 2 weeks, I'm just going to be like, oh, Christ, man, really?
Watch them go 3-0 this week.
Clip that.
Dumber shit has happened.
Clip that
Dumber
one,
shit
people.
has happened.
All right. So once again, I want to thank Jules for coming in here beyond the last minute to.
Yes, I found out at 7:02 I was on tonight, boys and girls.
So thank you once again for doing that. Ian, get your wires uncrossed or unpancaked, whatever it was.
Unpancaked.
But this is fun. We got to do this again before the end of the season, at least one more time. Any famous last words for you as we I don't know, come out of a week? I'll tell you, this weekend I was like, holy crap, this is like the only weekend of the season the Sharks don't have a game. And they had their I believe they're sampling their wine event earlier this evening.
Yes, which Macklin apparently went to, I heard. Like, what is he doing there? Someone told me Macklin went there. I don't know
He's a
if that's
designated
true.
driver.
Someone confirmed this, but someone told me I'm like, what is he doing?
Designated driver. Him and Smith.
Apple cider?
Yeah, they can be designated drivers and do
God.
that stuff. So I was like thinking, man, this is going to be like quite simply the shortest Pucknologists ever with just 2 games and nothing else. And then boom, the trade happens. You're like, holy crap, what the hell happened?
Yeah. No, I mean, listen, the Sharks are in a good spot. Not this season, but for the future. And like Ian said, the hardest part of a rebuild is getting out of a rebuild. And starting this next season is when we have to start getting out of this rebuild. So we'll see how it goes. And trade deadline, we might have stuff happening during Four Nations. Keep an eye out on that.
I mean, the way that's going this week, who knows?
Who knows? Trade deadline, I'm sure we're going to do something. You'll probably see my face a lot. Maybe some surprise guests. We'll see. But yeah, no, stick around. Turn on that post notification. I don't fucking know. I don't want to do that blab. But yeah, when the Sharks do mediocre, it's mediocre.
Yeah. And I'm only giving you 3 more years of this, Sharks, and then something better happen.
That's where I'm at.
All right. So remember, do the like and subscribe. Help keep us ad-free by using those super chat options during the live shows. Better yet, use Venmo. Find us at Tealtown USA. You can find links to our social media, podcast apps, and more included in the show notes. And you can always find everything for the time being on tealtownusa.com. And so with that, I wish you a very good night and a pleasant tomorrow.